How is it going, everyone? I hope you guys are doing well, and I'm finally making my update 7.5 review for Anime Vanguards, as this update is honestly too good to pass making a video on. I know I'm 2 weeks late, but I got kind of a late start to the update, and I'm finally getting around to making this video, aka just not being lazy, right? So, let's hop straight into it and just go over mostly everything that this update has to offer. So first, let's just quickly go over player count, everybody's favorite thing, right? If we start back on when the AOT update released, this was July 18th, so about a month ago, we can see that the player count peaked at like 33k. This is when the update dropped, and then it kind of just started to dwindle again up until, a new update dropped, and people were hoping that it would be a lot better than that update, because we all know how it went, okay? But if we scroll all the way over here to August 4th or August 5th, when the update released, we can see, boom, all the way up to 62k players, and it's been staying around that for 2 weeks now. It's gone up even to 77k, and it's kind of stabled out and averages around 60 or 70k, which is great, and I think it's deserved. Just thought it would be cool to point out how well the game is doing now. So moving on to quickly go over the 7 new units that were added. We got 5 summer banner units, including Escanor, and we got 1 unit named Leo from one of the summer events, which I don't know his origin, like anime or whatever. But we also got Jin Mori or Monkey King from Worldline floor 50. And I think while every one of these units are very good, and if we look at the tier list, I mean, again, this is only a tier list, but we can see that there is no unit below sub-meta. Like, everybody is in the meta tier or higher, and even Newsman, or I don't know what his name is from the anime, but he's a meta support, one of the best in the game. And again, if we just take a look in the meta, we can say Hiei, or Hey, I don't know how to say his name, Ali, Leo, however you say her name, and of course Escanor. All these units are usable and very, very good and worth getting. And I think, honestly, this is interesting. The power creep in this update is definitely pretty big compared to previous updates, but the thing is, they don't outclass absolutely everybody, except maybe Escanor and maybe Jin Mori. I'll go into them in a sec, but it is basically worth getting every single unit in this update. And especially, this is good for newer or returning players that maybe just need to get some better units that don't take like the longest time to evolve or anything like that, right? But to go over the 2 notable units, of course, Escanor, the new Vanguard unit. Do I think it's annoying that he's a banner Vanguard again? Yes, but what are you gonna do about it? And of course, we got Jin Mori or Monkey King from Worldline 50. These 2 are absolutely broken with Monarch, with or without, especially Escanor. Don't even get me started with him. But it's funny with Jin Mori, I forgot he was even from the God of High School. I watched that show like 4 years ago and completely forgot about him. But it's cool to, it was cool when I realized it was actually from something I watched. I mean, if you're lucky enough to get Escanor, at least we'll just talk about Escanor. Monkey King, he's great with Monarch, summons clones of himself and does like so much damage. You probably already know, right? But Escanor is just on a completely different level, with or without Monarch, because especially if you run him solo or burn the rest of your units before the match starts, he's just gonna, he's only gonna be free and upgrade himself every wave. That's all he's gonna do. And I believe I was playing a world line and some dude had like range 1 on his Escanor, and at max upgrade he was doing like 200k, and I think that's with the ultimate or like his stance switch. But either way, that is insane. Just want you to think about how much damage that really is. And with Monarch, he's doing like over 1 million damage, does like 4 million on the nuke, and that doesn't even count burn. Enemies burn outside of his range too. It's just, there's too much to talk about with him, dude. He's too good. So if you're lucky enough to get him, I hope you get him. So moving on to the 2 new game modes, well, I guess you could say 1 new game mode. We will talk about the summer event, and I really, really like this game mode because 1, it forces you to use the new units. And that sounds kind of weird at first, but most of these updates, most people will just go to showcases because it doesn't take too long, but it takes a while to get the new units, evo them, get some decent stats on them, just to use them for a couple minutes and say, I don't think they're that good. While the stats of these units or the summer units in this event are kind of inflated, it at least gives the player an opportunity to use them right away and to see it for themselves if they want to use the resources to upgrade those units, which I think is great. And of course, it gives you iced tea and some sunshine currency so you can evo characters if you want. And it's a different game mode to play if you don't want to play portals, which I think is the majority of the player base at this point. When update 6.5 dropped, what Kagi and stuff and spring portals were there, I made a video. I was like, dude, yes, let's go with the portals. At this point, dude, I'm getting sick of them, okay? So I'm glad this game mode is here. Just to touch up on the portals, I do think it's good they reworked how the elemental reactions work. They basically actually removed elemental reactions to begin with, and just some elements are buffed and debuffed, and there's a modifier too on the portal, which I think is good because especially if you had like a holy portal with revitalize as a modifier, there's like almost no way you're killing any of the enemies unless you're using a full holy team, and especially revitalize on top of the holy elemental reaction where the enemies are constantly healing. It's just such a pain. So I'm glad they went away with the elemental reactions, even though it was cool. While you could say it makes the portals a little less interesting, it still makes it a little more bearable to grind. Of course, we got the summer shop. You know, you can get your trait rerolls, you know, any other materials, whatever you want to get. We also got a event calendar, which is, you know, nice. Gives you reason again to log in every day for, you know, some more currency and trait rerolls. They also have this with the spring calendar and the regular calendar, or daily login rewards if you want to call it that. I can't remember if they reworked every single daily login this update or is the last update, but at least with the regular daily login, you can get some trait rerolls every couple of days. It gives, again, more incentive to log in every day, since beforehand the regular daily rewards were pretty garbage. It was just gems and it wasn't too much to begin with, at least with an endgame player. We finally got a boss event spawner, which is an item you can buy with legacy coins. I think this is great, especially when they start to add more boss events into the game. It can be very annoying waiting like 4 weeks to get, you know, the one desired boss event you want to play. So it's good that you can finally play them at your own pace or whenever you want to play them. If you need to complete, you know, the Sukuna boss rush event for like one quest or something, you can do that even if it's on an off week. We got a new revamped settings UI. It took me a little bit to get used to, but I think it looks very nice and it's very well organized. You know, can't really complain about that. Nothing too much else to say on that. But finally moving on to one of the bigger additions to at least this update itself for this summer duration is the events themselves. I said summer event earlier, but I was talking about that summer game mode, not the portals, but the other summer game mode. But these events, which are one of the best additions, I think, in a very long time. So if you're unfamiliar, basically every couple of days there's going to be a new event that happens, and this will affect gameplay either in giving you double event currency, making rifts spawn every hour, buffing Odyssey rewards. There's a calendar in game, you can see all these events that are going to happen, and it also gives the player more of an incentive to grind for the new units and evo them, since that's one of the events where you have to evo all them and you get tokens. And for most of these events, or some of them, like completing stages every day or evoing the new summer units, you're going to get tokens which you can then buy, you know, rerolls, maybe familiar tokens, or, you know, any currency like that, or even iced tea if you want to use it on the banner. And it's a great system to just give players some extra rewards for this period of time and make them log in every day. Of course, it brings into the question the FOMO, that, you know, if you're missing out on all the tokens you can get and maybe all the trait rerolls or whatever you want to get. It's a little annoying, but that basically goes with like anything in this game, so it's kind of like a nothing burger per se, but these events are just really spicing up gameplay, and it is a great addition. I hope they do this more, and I hope they keep being unique, you know, in the future if the dev team decides to keep implementing these events. And when it comes to update 7.5, that's about most of what is in this update, and I've been having so much fun. I've been playing more every day than I have like in a while with this game. Okay, again, these events and just the overall grind is making me come back every single day, and I'm sure it's doing the same with many other players, as you know, we can see from the player count. So I hope they continue doing more updates like these, you know, more banger updates. Of course, not every single one's going to be a banger, but hopefully the dev team keeps going up from here, and I'm very impressed. Before ending the video, I want to give my thoughts before update 8.0 drops, which is the Berserk update. Again, ever since the Bleach update, I'll put the clip in here. Watching, you know, I'm waiting for the Berserk update. I'm just saying, I don't even know if it'll happen, but I don't know how copyright, you know, I don't know how copyright induced the series as a whole is. But you know, maybe one day it'll come into this game. As you can see from that clip, I've been wanting a Berserk update for a while, and I am honestly surprised they gave it a full 0.0 update. That's a surprise to me. But if you're not aware, we actually got like a little sneak or teaser in game. There's a video in the Sneaks channel in Discord, but we actually have a Griffith NPC in the lobby above the summon sign. I'll put some footage on screen, but for right now, he's just saying the dialogue he said before the eclipse in game, if that makes sense. So he's kind of just rambling now, but I will say his model definitely looks interesting. I do hope that at least we know Guts and Griffith are definitely going to be added. I really hope they're unique, because I know a lot of people have concerns like, oh wow, they're going to just be, you know, full AoE bleed meta. You know, Guts is going to be meta, Griffith's going to be a crazy support like a lot of the other ATD games that have Berserk units. So I do hope that the dev team is cooking up something unique with these units, because of course it's going to be cool if Guts is full AoE bleed in his Berserker armor, but is it going to be something necessarily new? Not really. So I hope they're cooking up something with this update. Don't know when it's releasing, but you know, hopefully in the next week of recording this video or something like that. That would be great. I'm trying to think of any other units that they might add. Of course, I would like a Casca unit. You know, I like Casca in the manga. You know, one of my favorite characters. Other than that, maybe one of the God Hand members. That's about it. Like, I don't know. I'm trying to think of memorable units. Maybe some characters from the Band of the Hawk, but I'm not too sure. So we'll just have to see. Again, I'm very, very excited for this update. I do have high hopes. I have high hopes, but I'm not getting them too high. I hope they don't butcher most of the models or animations or units or whatever, and I just hope it's as fun as this update was. So I'm gonna end it there. Again, I thought update 7.5 was one of the strongest updates we've had in months, basically, ever, maybe since the Bleach update. Probably this is definitely top 5 updates this game has had for sure. So hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know what you guys thought of this update, and I will catch you guys in the next video. Peace.